let's take it on to the crypto market now. See, UK government have announced that formal regulation of crypto assets will begin October 2027, giving investors and businesses a clear framework for digital asset operation. The Finance Ministry says the move is aimed at protecting consumers, reducing fraud, and providing clarity to the fast-growing crypto market. Experts say the timeline gives the industry time to prepare while reinforcing the UK's commitment to being a safe and competitive hub for digital finance. Then El Salvador, they continue to hold their Bitcoin, a big bet on Bitcoin at this point, with the country's holdings surpassing 7,500 Bitcoins so far. The government says these purchases strengthen its national digital strategy while aiming to boost financial inclusion and economic resilience. Experts are noting that El Salvador remains the first nation to fully embrace cryptocurrency at this scale, keeping global eyes on how this unprecedented approach impacts both local economy and the wider crypto market. And we see Ukraine, Nigeria, and Vietnam, they're leading global adoption. A new report from Bybit highlights, these three countries are leading, adoption with necessity-driven crypto adoption right there in regions where the traditional banking, falls short. Residents are increasingly using digital assets for remittances. So that's the picture right there. All right, so first off, let's get a quick conversation now with Seun Dania to help us understand this cryptocurrency adoption data. It's continued to accelerate, driven not only by speculative investment, but increasingly by necessities, with the data showing countries like Ukraine, Nigeria, Vietnam, leading when it comes to necessity-driven crypto growth. All right, Seun, great to have you. Welcome. Compliments of the season. What are the key factors driving necessity-driven crypto adoption in countries like Ukraine, Nigeria, and Vietnam?
So traditionally, when people hear crypto, everybody thinks about volatility, speculation, and hype. But we know that globally, in 2025, as we speak now, that picture is completely outdated. And crypto adoption has entered a new phase, which is driven less by excitement and, as you mentioned, by necessity, regulatory clarity, and real economic use. So with that data that you have mentioned, for Nigeria, it's not because of speculation, it's because people need alternatives to slow, expensive, and unreliable financial systems. And it's telling us what crypto has become. In a country like Ukraine, where you know that there are wars, there are a lot of embargoes, there are a lot of things that are happening where people see the need to be able to hedge their money in globally usable transactions, which is primarily crypto-based. In Nigeria, we know that because of FX volatility, the need for cross-border payments and cross-border trade, and also the need to invest in alternative assets that has made a lot of Nigerians become to use crypto. I think the gig economy is also functioning well using cryptocurrencies.
Right, and definitely before now, it was mostly about people trying to make 1,000% gains, in this market. So how much of global crypto adoption, in 2025 is, speculative versus necessity-based at this point?
I really cannot say, but I know that globally, we have over 500 million people who have or use some kind of crypto worldwide. And so that already tells us that people are, of course, holding on for savings with assets like Bitcoin because of the popularity. Those we can say are speculative. But we can also, I know for sure that the stablecoins are the real adoption story. And the global stablecoin market is worth well over 200 billion US dollars. And USDT, dominating that global stage. People are now looking for ways to make things happen, not because they're excited or they just want to, make 1,000%, as you said, but people are, facilitate payments faster, hedge FX, and also do a lot of their business day-to-day transactional payments. If we look at the real-world use case, and recently just concluded Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, we saw that stablecoins were accepted as payments. The Abu Dhabi global market, they formally recognized USDT as an expected fiat reference token. So during the Grand Prix, and not just for visitors who were there buying coffee, and which was applicable. But in terms of businesses and all the companies that were there being able to exchange value in real time and being able to conclude transactions at the speed of light. So we see this kind of, if we're able to use that as a real world use case, we see that it's beyond the excitement, beyond the hype. Now people are adopting cryptocurrency for the actual use of it.
All right, and talking about adoption, regulation is definitely playing a big role at this point. When you look at these countries, how would you say regulation is, advancing, adoption? Is it making them want to adopt cryptocurrency more, or do you think regulation is, making people kind of move away, from cryptocurrency? In your opinion?
So, regulation is a key driver for adoption. In the EU, we know they have MiCA. The US has approved crypto ETFs. As you mentioned earlier, the UK has a clear regulatory roadmap. Countries like the UAE, Singapore, Japan, they have frameworks that are enabling. And they understand one thing: that capital does not enter where there's chaos. If there are no laws, then there will be chaos. Capital goes where there is clarity. And with regulation, the countries that have clarity, that are not stopping crypto activity, putting in the right frameworks, are where capital will flow to. Other places where you have on unclear regulation, you see that a lot of capital will not be flowing into those countries because people are not willing to invest where there's no law. In countries like in Nigeria, for instance, Nigeria will see that there's been a pivotal change from where we were before, which is a full outright ban on anything cryptocurrencies. So now us having a lot more clear regulation from the SEC. We also see that the FIRS or the tax agencies are also looking at how they can tax earnings from crypto, which signals to us one thing that Nigeria is ready. Once you are ready to tax, you are ready to regulate properly. Basically, they want to have insights as to how people invest, how people make money, and the country itself will benefit from it. We also know that the stable coins like CNGN, all those still in the regulation incubation program with the SEC, is also growing large adoption, which is allowing Nigerians to be able to transact this naira digitally and faster with all the advantages that the blockchain technology has to offer. So for many Nigerians, crypto is now like, it's practical money management, and Nigeria is no longer banning it. Nigeria is out there. The current administration is doing so much to ensure that they put laws in place which will attract both local and foreign investors, and the country will be well off.
All right, definitely we'll keep tracking, adoption at this point. We also have, the likes of CNGN and, countries also releasing different stable coins at this point. We'll see how it goes. Thank you so much. Seun Dania, it was great having you, and enjoy the week, this last full trading week of 2025.
Yeah, have a Merry Christmas.
Fantastic. Thank you.